pretty prevalent in like dating apps, I would say, because you get like, oh, I can always just keep swiping.
Have you ever used a dating app?
Yes, I have. Yeah.
Well, what's your experience?
I like the first time I used them was right after getting out of a relationship.
No.
Yeah, and it was also like 2021. Yeah. So COVID times still. So I was already very like isolated, and so it just it sent me down a lot more of a negative path than I should have gone. But I just, my self-esteem down. I was like, oh, this is terrible.
I hear the same story from
everyone. Yeah, it's for girls, it's a lot of out-of-pocket comments and like like endless matching. And then for guys, unless you're like really conventionally attractive, I've only like met like one or two people who were like, oh yeah, I have like a bunch of matches. And that's a guy on dating apps. But everyone else is like, yeah, it sucks. Ruins your self-esteem.
I refuse to use them.
Yeah, that's the best move.
I think that is like a good thing that I refuse to use them. But I also think part of it's bad because it's like a pride thing, because I think I'm like too good for them. I'm like, I wouldn't ever want to be the type of person who would say, oh, I met my wife on a dating app.
How do you feel about that? How would you feel if you met your wife? It's like that 100%.
So this is kind of funny. I DM a lot of people on Instagram for the podcast, and I've DM'd like a fair number of girls for the podcast. Never DMing girls in the sense of like, let's go on a date, or like I don't think I've ever DM'd a girl and was like, you're hot or whatever. But sometimes I'll do podcasts with girls that I DM that are doing really exciting, cool things, and I'm like, dude, I hope that I wouldn't romantically fall for one of these girls, because it would hurt my ego to be like, how'd you meet? Well, I DM'd her. And I don't know if that's actually like low-key bad, because I feel like it's a pride thing.
Yeah, I see what you mean with that. I think you could shape it and be like, yeah, I invited her on my podcast.
I mean, that's what I would say.
I guess we fell in love.
I'd probably say we met on the podcast,
but did you? I think it comes down to the intentions, though. It's like, did you DM her with the intention of going on the podcast, or DM with the intention of getting her on a date?
That's true. And I honestly don't know if like you could say. I try really, really hard to see every single girl as a friend first, because I just think it's a better investment, especially with my like Christian morals. I think that I think you'll have a more successful relationship if you start off as friends. I think that it's more biblical, and I'm a Christian. I think in all ways it is better to see someone as a friend first. But even with that being said, I don't know if I could ever say like 100% of the time when there's a situation like that, like if I am like, oh, this girl's really exciting and I want to have her on my podcast, but she's also really beautiful, like it's not like I'm just acknowledging how exciting she is. I'm definitely like, well, she's pretty attractive too.
I think that's human.
It's human. It literally is human. And the reason I'm saying is because it's honest. Like that, I don't know. It's just, it is the truth. But
it would be funny if you were having a conversation with her and it got slightly flirty, and then you could capture your first flirty moment on a podcast. Yeah. I don't know if you'd do that. Probably not for the podcast. No, but it'd be funny if it went that direction.
Who knows? I have friends who have. I can't reveal because it's people we know. Yeah. But people we know who own a certain company have had people attend their events and ended up dating people from the events. Yeah. And they're like, they said, it's like dipping your pen in the company ink.
Dude, it's a pipeline, man.
But I was thinking about that too. Like if I ended up dating one of my podcast guests, actually Casey, he's the founder of listener.com. He ended up dating one of his podcast guests. I don't really think there's anything malicious about that, because it's not...
Well, your intentions aren't that.
Yeah.
You can see that.
There's also like a complete difference in industry. Like if you're in an office and you're sitting next to someone and you're going to like start a relationship with someone in an office, and then every day you're going to see them at work, well, that's going to like change the dynamic of the office and the people around you. It's like if I have someone on my podcast once, maybe again in like 2 years, it's not going to really change the dynamic.
So that's changed too. it didn't used to be so taboo to meet somebody at work. That used to be that.
I think a majority of people. Oh, that was so one thing I wanted to got. I don't know why that sparked my brain. You were talking about how like 2 or 3 people who are guys who get a lot of matches on Tinder. So I just read something recently. That was a study. I can't remember the study, and I hate just referencing studies without remembering them, because then I'm like, just any one of those internet guys who just say stuff.
Yeah.
So whatever, you don't have to believe this. Go look it up. But basically it was saying that people are struggling the hardest they've ever struggled to get married and find partners, because women want to date someone of a higher economic status than them. Mm-hmm. Yet women have also been like rallying for better jobs and better equal pay. And so now women are starting to get like equal jobs and equal pay, but they want a mate who's doing better. So it's like all the female attention is going to like the top 1% of guys, rather than how it used to be in the past, where, and I'm not like for like, I don't really care what jobs women do or don't do, but like in the past, women used to be a lot more commonly stay-at-home moms, or
the guy would be the breadwinner.
Yeah. And so from that, and I guess it probably is rooted in pride of like wanting to have someone more successful husband. So I guess that's like a huge problem right now, is that girls are only competing over the top, like 1% of men, leaving a lot more men lonely and a lot more women lonely, I guess, as well, because they can't find a partner.
Yeah. So the common term that's, I guess, been coined for that I've heard is hypergamy. Yeah, so that's where I guess to explain it in one sentence is like women tend to like to date across and up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to speak on that, how accurate it is or anything. Yeah. But I would say, generally speaking, that's reinforced by a lot of things we see online.
Yeah.
For sure. You've probably seen the street interviews where usually it's done by guys and it's sort of condescending, which I don't like those types of street interviews. But they like ask a woman like, what's your ideal guy? And it's like, okay, he has to be this height, he has to make this much money, he has to be like, he can't be overweight. And then there's like this calculator that someone made that basically calculated what percentage of guy exists in that caliber in the world.
Yeah.
And it's called the female delusion calculator. That's what.
Oh, I guess that's funny.
Yeah, but I would say that's maybe that's definitely a thing that's occurring. But if it's bad or good, I think time will tell. I think it's a net bad if it continues.
Yeah.
If not that it's one person's fault or anything, but I think it's bad because if you have less relationships forming, you have less children forming, then you're gonna have underpopulation. You're gonna have what's happening to Japan.
Yeah.
Which is just bad for the economy.
Oh yeah.
But now that's a whole rabbit hole we could totally get into.
A whole rabbit hole. I'm trying to think of how to not go down this rabbit hole.
Yeah.